Kia ora, welcome to this oral overview of the Huatahi Flourishing Together qualitative survey results. This report is called Home, a place where you can be yourself. And it arises from the survey that you may have seen at some stage in the past. We use the accessible survey platform to gather the experiences and expertise and stories of disabled people, including tāngata whaikaha Māori and their family and whānau, about their experiences of housing. And this report is a summary of all of those voices and all of those experiences. Throughout, you will see that we have included quotes. However, we can't do justice to the full range of quotes and stories that have been shared in this report. However, we are working on gathering together a place where everyone's stories can be made available and in an anonymised way, and where people can read through and understand see their own stories here, but also hear from others. These voices, the people that responded to the survey, as I mentioned, included disabled people, tāngata whaikaha Māori, and their family whānau. The report is divided into three main sections. The first section is an overview of the survey. Second section is a bit about who completed the survey. And the third section is overviewing what people said. The final page is where you can go if you want to find more information about the study and who else has been involved in the project. So the first section is the survey overview. Page 6 gives a bit of an overview of what the survey was about, why it was set up, and page 7 talks about the main purpose of the survey. So we wanted to understand what things made it easier or harder for disabled people to find a home that works best for them and their whānau families. And we were especially interested in what would help disabled people feel more in control and have choice in where and how they lived. And given we know that people's needs and preferences change, we were also really interested in how people could find and access and sustain a home that works for them in different life stages. If you're not able to access the materials in this format, on the website, which I'll give you information to, you can find a word text version of this report as well. That might be more accessible for you. So you head to our website, www.flourishingtogether, that's all one word lowercase, .co.nz, and you'll be able to access the reports there. Page 8 is a bit of an executive summary, so to speak. It's an overview of the sort of key 8 messages that we were hearing as we read through all the responses. So if you want to, got a limited amount of time, page 8 is a really great place to go to sort of get that overview. Section 2 overviews who completed the survey. And so it's a bit of a snapshot to give you a bit of a sense. So as we mentioned, a range of people were involved, but there was 134 responses in total. 82% of those were disabled people themselves, and 18% identified as whānau. Of the entire group, 17% of respondents self-identified as Māori, and 73% identified as female. You can also see that the majority, 63% of people who responded, reported some physical difficulties with mobility or walking or climbing stairs. This is this page, page 11, is a summary of the kinds of housing experiences that these people had. Not everyone answered these questions, it wasn't a requirement, but of those that did answer, we were able to give you a little bit more context about the sorts of things that they were experiencing in terms of their housing. Section 3 is the longest section by far, and it overviews the 10 questions and people's responses to those questions within the survey. So I'm not going to go through them in detail. I'm going to explain what the 10 questions were, but I'll leave you to explore those in a little bit more detail. The first question was we invite people just to share their stories around housing and to tell us what housing meant to them. Now, what we've got on each, we've got for each question, we've got 2 pages. The first page overviews the questions and includes a key takeaway. This is the researchers and the disabled people who worked alongside the researchers. We call them the co-production team. So the researchers and the co-production team, the summary of the main so what, the main takeaway that we got as we synthesized and brought together people's stories. Then we've usually got a quote that sort of tells the story well, so sort of summarizes the key things that people talked about. But we've got some other shorter quotes as well that bring up different aspects. So some of them are in the hand-drawn quote speech marks. Usually on the second page, we have key ideas shared by respondents. So that's a bullet pointed summary of the main things that we heard across those 134 responses. And it's just trying to summarize the main things. So as I mentioned, each question has 2 pages. So first question was about sharing what home means to you. Second question was around what works for you and your family, and we're really interested to hear about some examples of when things had worked well. And so once again, we've got 2 pages related to that. Question 3 was we were asking people about their interactions with government departments and disability related services regarding their housing needs and the ways of working or the processes, how things were done, and how that impacted on people's ability to feel like they had choice and control around housing. Question 3 is quite a good connection between these, but this was around people asking people about if they understood or knew what their entitlements were, and if they had some sense of how the processes were working out. So, say if there was a housing modification process, where things were up to, and what was next, and who were they waiting for. So this information is pulled together in pages 19 and 20. Question 5 related to navigation. So we asked how support with navigation had helped people experience choice and control around housing. Now, just to know that these questions had been developed from the co-production team, the group of disabled people that we were working with. So we asked them about their experiences of housing, and then using those, we together developed a series of questions that we to then sort of check to see if that was true for a larger group of people. So it's not everything related to housing, but we were really focused on the things that allow people to experience choice and control. Question 6 related to funding for disability housing, or disability related housing. And question 7 was broader. It related to planning rules and codes and tenancy rights. And so how the way our cities are structured and the way our houses are built impacts on how and where people can live. I should say for that last one, that tenancy, so rental properties and the rules around rental. renters came into that as well. Question 8 was really asking around how the actions and behaviours of others had influenced people's choices. So, thinking about assumptions and expectations, and whether people were respectful and listening to what people wanted. And then question 9 related to financial security. So, how income and financial security impacted. So the final question on pages 31 and 32 really asked around, what do you hope for? If the miracle could happen, if something amazing could happen, what would that look like for you? And so on pages 31 and then 32 is an overview and then some quotes that summarize what disabled people and their families hoped for. As I mentioned, the last page has got information about where you can get more information about the project as a whole. You can head to our website. It's got some information about the research team, and you can see the range of universities and things that the researchers are involved with. And also it's got acknowledgements, firstly to the people who so generously shared their stories and expertise to help us understand, but also to help us advocate for policy change and practice change that will make a difference for disabled people in the longer term. Final massive thank you to the co-production team members. So the 40 or so disabled people that have journeyed with us over the last 4 years in pulling this research together. We're really grateful. Please don't hesitate to contact the research team. If you head to the website, there is a contact button and it's got my email address and a phone number. If you would like to contact at any stage, we'd really appreciate it. We love to get feedback, to think about ways that we can improve, how we're sharing findings and talking about things, but also, most importantly, to make sure that disabled people's voices are really included in meaningful ways in this important decisions that impact them. Thank you.